Hello, I'm Claire Sendell and I'm here to talk to Adam Walker, Managing Director of Final Duties. Adam, why did you set up Final Duties?
Well, Claire, the reason I set up Final Duties was that my father died in May of 2008, and we had such a terrible time of sorting out his legal and financial affairs that I thought there was a real need for a company that would help other people that were going through the same thing.
So why did you have such a hard time?
Well, there were two problems. The first was that his solicitor refused to give an estimate for the cost of dealing with probate. They said they couldn't know that until the job had been finished. And when they did eventually give an estimate, it was nearly 4 times the fee that it should have been for the work.
How do solicitors charge for probate work?
Well, most solicitors charge in 2 ways. They charge an hourly rate, which is typically £200 an hour for a provincial solicitor. And then on top of that, they charge what they call a responsibility fee. Now, the problem with that charging basis is that if you're charging on an hourly basis, some solicitors are tempted to string the work out and make it last longer than it should do. And the responsibility fee, we think, is wholly unfair. I mean, if there's £100,000 in a bank account, why should the solicitor charge an extra £1,000 just to close that account down and move the money elsewhere? It's half an hour's work. It's just not a fair way of charging. And the other problem with that system is that the client has no idea what the bill's going to be until it eventually comes at the end of the job.
How do most banks charge for probate work?
Well, banks charge a straight percentage of the estate, and a fee of 4% is quite typical. So that means that if there's a single deposit account with £100,000 in it and no other assets, then just shutting that account down would cost £4,000. It seems a lot of money for the work involved.
How does Final Duties charge its fees?
Well, Final Duties is completely different. We charge a fixed fee which is based on the amount of work that's actually required to administer the estate rather than just an arbitrary percentage.
And how do you know how much work's going to be involved?
Well, we fill out a comprehensive probate information form. It takes about 10 minutes to do over the telephone, and that gives us all the information that we need to give an accurate fixed fee quotation for the job of administering the estate.
What happens next?
Well, once we've got the information, we send the case out to tender to our panel of solicitors, and we do a sort of reverse auction process, and whoever gives us the most competitive fee will be offered the work.
And what happens after the 4 hours?
Well, at the end of the 4 hours, we then send the most competitive quote out to the client in writing and without obligation. And as you can see, it's a really comprehensive quotation that sets out exactly what work we're going to do and exactly what fee we're going to charge to the penny.
So what happens if the client is happy with the quotation?
Well, if the client's happy with the quote, then we charge them our brokerage fee, which is £295 including VAT. And if they don't accept the quotation, that's the end of the matter and there's nothing to pay.
How do your fees compare to other probate providers?
Well, typically we come in at about half the price of dealing with a high street solicitor and about a quarter the price of dealing with a bank.
Once people have had a quotation from Final Duties, how many people accept it?
It's about 7 out of 10 of the people that we quote for decide to accept the quotation.
Is your quotation guaranteed?
Yes, it's absolutely guaranteed. It's not an estimate, it's a fixed quotation. And we guarantee that it won't change provided that the details of the estate are more or less as described to us.
Do you not visit the client at home?
No, deliberately not. We find that most people prefer to do everything over the telephone. And with the internet these days, there is really no need for us to visit people at home. We just think that it's an extra expense that is quite unnecessary.
Tell me a bit more about the solicitors you use.
Well, the solicitors that Final Duties uses are some of the biggest and best probate solicitors in the country. Most of them are Legal 500 companies, which is an independently audited panel of some of the best solicitors in the sector.
And what financial security do your clients have?
Well, the main thing is that Final Duties never hold any client money at any time. So apart from the £295 broking fee, all the other money is paid into the solicitor's client account, where it's held securely and fully protected by the solicitor's compensation fund.
So to sum up, Final Duties has a unique approach to the probate process. How well have you been received so far?
The response of the press has been absolutely fantastic. We've had articles in the Times, the Financial Times, the Independent on Sunday, Which Magazine, and on BBC One television. We really have been bowled over by the public response to what we're doing. And the way things are going, we're on target to soon become the biggest probate provider in the country.
How do people get a quotation?
If they call us on 0800 731 8722, it takes about 10 minutes and it could save people literally thousands of pounds.
Thanks, Adam, that's really helpful.